This week on the BlastCast, we're going to be talking about the Anvil Terrapin and also the Aegis Vanguard Hoplite variant, and some of the thoughts and some of the feelings the community has had about these ships. Let's get to it. Greetings everyone, and welcome to another week of BlastCast. Once again with me, as always, is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. This week we're going to be talking a little bit about the Vanguard Hoplite and also the Terrapin. But first, I wanted to go ahead and let you know that there may be no BlastCast next week due to the fact that I do actually have a work schedule change. I'm going to be running an 8-day stretch to my job, and it's going to be kind of hard to squeeze anything in whatsoever.
Woohoo!
Oh, yeah, work schedule changes are fun. Also, below, I'm going to put down in the description below, I kind of found this, what kind of inspired me to start this channel. I've been a big proponent of getting rid of IM and for unified control systems across all controllers in the game, so everyone can play with what they want and do what they want, which is one of the original pitches of the game. And I had done a radio interview on the Star Citizen, the base, and it was the second part of their roundtable discussion. It was kind of a 2-hour program, I guess maybe like an hour long with the commercials cut out or whatever. But I'm going to put a link to that down below. That was the first time I actually did anything like this, and I remember in particular about that broadcast. What was funny was when he actually introduced me, and it's funny if you listen to it, there's like a moment of silence there. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I couldn't even remember to speak. The social formats like that, especially debates or whatnot, not my cup of tea. But I was like, hi, kind of thing. It's pretty. I mean, it sounds bigger to me than it probably is. But at that moment, I was like trying to get the words out of my mouth. But that was anyway.
Derpity.
It went really well. And that was with Dupe Sums, and he was one of the people who was doing the live stream at the at GamesCon. And after a while, he mentioned he thought about possibly at one point having me. He talked about, hey, maybe you want to host something on our channel, on our radio show. But I kind of
never happened.
Well, I decided, he kind of I thought about it, and I was like, I could do that, but I kind of want to do my own thing, if I'm going to do anything. So that's kind of where the thought process of starting this channel kind of came from.
I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, it's one thing to always kind of follow in other footsteps. I prefer to blaze a trail. So, anyway, one of the things that they had talked about in the GamesCon was that they kind of just mentioned it briefly, and then they had it was a more detailed picture of soldiers kind of running up the ramp. Was the Vanguard Hoplite, which is not something that I think any of us expected, because basically it's a Vanguard with a slightly different rear end.
Got a fatter butt.
Yeah, it's got a fatter butt, bigger ramp, so people can get in and out quicker. And it's a drop ship. Now, the Vanguard is designed as a long-range transport, and what is interesting to me, not long-range, but a long-range fighter, and they've turned it to a long-range transport. Yeah, well, now it's a long-range troop transport, and that seems to me to be it's odd to me because, I mean, I have the Redeemer as well. And the Redeemer, when they had the next great starship,
they wanted helicopter gunships.
Right, they wanted basically troop transport, kind of helicopter gunship kind of vehicle. And we all voted, and we ended up with the Redeemer, and that's one I voted for. I loved it. Though the other one that was the finalist too was also it was a hard.
It was a
pick.
pretty good one. And the weirdest thing is they both had very similar designs and rotating engines, which is kind of weird. But
and a lot of people don't like the engines in the Redeemer. I don't care either way. I mean,
I think they're cool.
I think they're cool. I mean,
but
I have no problems
I'm
with
a big anime Gundam person, so what do I know?
Yeah, a lot of people call them the Nutcrackers. But the thing is that to me. I was surprised to see them do that, because here I've had this ship in my hangar forever.
Like a year and a half, maybe 2 years now.
Yeah, and it still can't fly.
It's been a long time since they had the next great starship.
Yeah, and I can't do anything with it. And here's a ship that comes along, basically the Vanguard, which we've had a discussion here in this channel, the Control Plus Vanguard controversy. basically where they copied and cut and paste a lot of the pieces off other ships to create the Vanguard in record times. The biggest selling ship they've ever had, and they basically just kind of pieced it together. And there's been a lot of
cough, No Man's Sky, cough, cough.
Well, not that bad.
I mean, they had the original pitch, the concept sale. This is what the ship can do. You know, it's gonna do all these things, and then you get the ship and it does none of these things.
Yeah, there's no civilian version. It's military only. There was never any civilian variant made. Military spec ship that comes out. Oh, it's a civilian variant. There's 3 different variants of it. 3 different variants do all the things that the one variant we told you that does. It was really. And then of course they took away the treads, and we went through all this before.
Oh yeah.
So the thing is that to see the Hoplite come along, and basically like, oh yeah, here's your Redeemer light, and to me, I'm not really interested in it. I want to fly my Redeemer. I don't really need another little BUK to go onto my Vanguard.
The thing that bothers me the most is they're both Aegis ships, and Aegis makes some of the best looking ships. Well, the people that design around the Aegis theme are some of the best looking ships, in my opinion. It's not like Aegis makes them, because it's CIG that's making all the ships.
Yeah.
But like, for example, for example, if Boeing made a military transport, right? It's designed to go and haul people, and they made it. It works great. It does all the things they want, and then more. And the military said, well, we want you to make another plane, and we want to have these specs. They would probably just take the existing plane they already have and slightly modify it so it fits those specs. They wouldn't modify a different airplane. So you already have something that does this. Wouldn't you just modify that ship, which it's designed to do? It can do it better. It can do more people, rather than taking something that's a heavy fighter and light torpedo ship, I guess, because they can have torpedoes, and then modify it by putting a bigger back on it and carrying troops. Where is the logic here? That doesn't make any sense.
Unless you're making an ODST torpedo ship, where basically you put people in the torpedo tubes, you just fire them down to the planet.
Fire ODST Marines and people.
No, I don't think that's the plan here. But
that'd be hilarious.
But so that's just on that subject. You're right. I mean, they've already, Aegis has a dropship, and they just wouldn't have dropship and dropship again.
Here's this really good military, heavy fighter. It's long range. You can do light bombing rolls. You know what it really needs? It needs to have a larger signature radius, a heavier profile, more maintenance cost. We have to redesign all of these factories that make these ships so we can modify it so we can carry troops. I'm all for having more ships, but this doesn't make any sense.
And in the process, get rid of the separate ejection pod, which our 2 people had used before as a survival mechanism, has now been converted into basically.
So now it's the flying coffin, like
literally, because
B-2026.
Well, yeah. So now we've gotten rid of all this.
That up now.
We've gotten rid of our beds or survival areas. It's going to fill full of seats, and then if they need to eject,
B-26, the flying coffin.
And another reason you don't want the Vanguard as a dropship. I'm just going to point this out for anyone. That little ejection pod shoots down. Now, if you're in an atmosphere trying to drop anyone off and you have to eject, you're going to shoot yourself straight into the planet. It's not what you call. I mean, it's not a good design to begin with in that regards. But in space, it doesn't matter so much. But if it was crashing atmosphere, I guess you could run out the back ramp, jump out, and parachute, but or whatever. But the thing is that if you had to eject that pod in the atmosphere for some reason, all you're doing is shooting something at high speed directly into a mountaintop, and that's really not it's a visual, but I really don't think it's a good idea. So definitely I'd rather see the Redeemer, put some focus on that. We saw the Redeemer originally, and it was like the first time they showed Star Marine being played, and this was like more than a year ago, and they had the Redeemer flying in, and it looked amazing.
Which most likely it wasn't like flown in engine or anything. It was probably just kind of dragged around the map or whatever.
Well, the way that they had it all animated though and everything, and I could see if I could find the clip. No guarantees it's here or not, but basically
the only thing I can think of is they wanted the original designers to finish the ship, and they're just having a lot of trouble finishing
Well,
it.
that's the thing though. The guy who designed it is the one that they had do the Vanguard. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I love his ship. I love the Redeemer, and I just hate the way the Vanguard came out. But it's like hopefully they put more care in the Redeemer. If that's the case, I'm fine with it. But we don't need. I'd rather see I'd rather see the Redeemer. I want to fly the Redeemer.
Make a variant for the Redeemer with drop
Yeah.
pods.
Yeah, or whatever.
Problem solved. Don't give us
the Redeemer.
another
The Redeemer doesn't need
Vanguard.
drop. It's got like eight Rio seats in the back.
Yeah, well, it's got the fucking passenger seats, right? There we go. It's got passenger seats, but you can modify that because they're already talking about a version that doesn't have seats for more cargo.
Yeah.
So another variant of that would be drop pods, literal pods. You like lockers you get into, and then instead of having to land, you just fly over. You pop all the things. They have some kind of slow down retro thrusters or whatever. I mean, fucking Halo, right?
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But anyway, so enough about all that. But that's my thoughts on it real quick. I don't think the Hoplite's needed. I think it's redundant. So and then the other side of me is like, it's nice to have variants that do kind of similar jobs.
Share this video because we don't want another Vanguard.
Yeah. So anyway, on the other thing is that I actually melted my my Freelancer dirt down, and I actually went with the Terrapin. And
it was a sad day. We spilled coffee on its grave.
We did. The thing is that the reason I had that there wasn't for as much as having cargo and exploration, as mostly just exploration. And between Lightning here having the Orion and my having the Reclaimer, and of course I also have the Prospector. To me, the idea of having basically the best scanning ship, because that's what it is. It's the best scanning ship
until they make something better.
And it doesn't have a lot of guns and whatnot, but it can't carry any cargo. But to me, I want to scan as much as possible. I want to get out.
It's possible it'll still be able to have some cargo, but it's probably not going to have like a dedicated cargo area.
Yeah. They said you can put some stuff in the back, but it's all kind of loose.
It's not a transport.
Yeah, it's all going to be loose back there. So if you hit the brakes, it's all going to hit you in the back of the head. So I wouldn't
grab
really
hands. We'll just pack as much stuff around the seat as possible.
So don't put axes, pickaxes, shovels, and like kitchen knives in the back of the ship and hit the brakes. So the thing is that for me, it's interesting aspect because not just the exploration,
but a bunch of mirrors.
Bunch of mirrors. So the thing is that if you're doing fleet operations or if you're just like here I got Lightning out here. He's mining in the Orion, and I'm out there scanning down to see if troubles arise, so he can get that big ship out of there before enemies show up. That's what
maneuver
Terrapin,
out of the asteroid field.
Right, that's what the Terrapin can do for you. It's one of those ships that it's small enough to get into those kind of tighter environments. Can get out there. It can be your eyes before anyone else can. They don't even know you're there yet. You know they're there, and you see them coming this way. You tell your fleet or your group or whatever to get out, and they can't. It's basically the Raptor from Battlestar Galactica, with the exception it doesn't carry like torpedoes or whatnot. But
yeah, the Raptor, I think it had more interior space. But one of the things that I like to
same actually.
Well,
just have more seats.
Yeah, maybe there was more.
And they may add Rios,
utilized space inside the Terrapin. But something I notice a lot in like movies or other games and stuff is, for example, in Space Engineers, right? If you have to, if you put ion engines in your ship, you need reactors to power them. You need something physical on there to power it. If you use hydrogen thrusters, you need hydrogen fuel tanks to power your thrusters. Obviously, you still need power to run the things. And a lot of games don't do that. They don't have they don't internally model. They don't internally modify. Fuck me, I can't speak. Like Eve, right? Eve. It's just an exterior hull, and they've got firing hard points on it. There's no interior to that ship at all. And when you go to like the movie side and stuff, you look at an X-wing, it's like, oh well, these are the engines, and these are the wings, and there's the guns on it, and you have this middle section. Well, the middle section is just stuff, right? I mean, right. It's just it's a gap to make it have lines and characteristics. And in the Star Wars universe, they're better explained. But I mean, if you look at the Millennium Falcon, or where's the power core to that? I mean, it's not really physically built in. It's kind of like an afterthought, like, oh, well, it'd be right where your ion engine exhaust port is. Or if anybody's played Knights of the Republic, the actual RPG, not the MMO, if you look in the Ebon Hawk, your hyperdrive unit is next to these big, huge, massive things, and it's just this little teapot stand looking thing, and that's your hyperdrive unit. It's like, this tiny thing is how you go to hyperdrive or hyperspace, whatever, light speed.
Well, yeah, but we need to get you a dictionary.
I don't know. Just continue
okay,
talking.
That's it. I'm taking back your nerd card, and I'm going to revoke you. You're done. I'm going to send you back to school.
I just know what I'm talking about. It's late, and I'm tired.
No, so the thing is that they said they may have some real. See, a lot of people on the forums are a bit complaining. There's not enough firepower on the ship. It's got those two size 2 guns, effectively speaking, that are on turrets, and they said that because of the massive amount of energy the ship has, that those can act more like 2.5s, I guess, because where a lot of ships would run out of firepower, run out of energy. And this is once they get the pipeline system in. Right now, we pretty much have infinite power and whatnot. But basically, something like the Terrapin could keep firing and firing and firing and firing. It doesn't care.
But that brings up another really excellent point, is that the arms race to the bottom, as you like to call it. There are certain ships in the game that just have too many guns. You look at most of the fighters, and they all have about 3 to 4 weapons. If they have 4 weapons, usually they're they're non-gimbaled, or they're all size 1s. And so like the 300 series and the Gladius and the Gladiator and all these ships are relatively well balanced with each other. And then you have the Hornet, which isn't. It's just completely out of whack. It's got too many guns. It's got too much power.
Whoa, what's that? Should I insert the Hornet Report song here?
It's the Hornet Report, starring
Lightning Dragon.
Or
no. I had to think for a second what you meant there. But no, it's the Hornet just throws everything out of balance, and you can't. If you give a guy a bazooka and everybody else pistols, all the people with pistols are going to complain that the guy with the bazooka is overpowered. But he earned that bazooka.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
why should the bazooka guy go against guys with pistols? He needs some kind of balance.
The general thought is I see the complaints, and I get their concerns, because but if the pipelines come in, and with the way I see things, and people have to, when the pipelines come in with the energy, you may have 4 gun mounts, like a Hornet that has those 4 basic sections for unit weaponry. Because of the power supply issues, this might be the time that we start seeing people have to mix physical and energy. If they do it right, if they have the pipeline system set up the right way, you're not going to strap on 4 energy weapons. You're going to do 2 physical and 2 energy, because you can't handle all that energy. Or something like the Terrapin.
You can't handle the power.
Or something like the Terrapin would just have the 2 energy weapons, because that's all it needs. So it's a matter of how they do the pipelines, how they do the energy systems, and that's part of the factor that we're not seeing yet. And so I don't want to be too critical on that, and I don't think it's a big deal anyway, because everything shouldn't be able to do everything. And and the thing is with a Terrapin, it's made to see them before they see you, get the information out, and get away before you're spotted.
It's also got heavier power, more powerful shields,
and constellation-sized shields on something the size of a Hornet, guys. I mean, wow, that's nuts. So I mean, it's going to have mad stacks of damage taking on top of the 3 layers of armor. Yeah, whatever.
As long as they get the damage ratio scaled right. It takes too long to kill this ship. Okay, we're just going to increase all power on all guns across the board. Oh, it takes 2 shots to blow up my light fighter. Something's wrong here.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how everything comes out with the pipelines before I would really give that a concern, because depending upon how much energy is actually pulled from your systems, you may see people change the loadouts of every ship they fly after that happens. And I really think that's going to be the case, because if not, there's absolutely no reason for anyone to do anything other than mono boat. But anyway, guys, this one's going to get kind of long here, and we're going to probably go ahead and wrap this up. And so leave us your thoughts down below. What do you think of the idea of the Hoplite? Does that kind of bother you? Do you kind of just want to rather see the Redeemer come out? Do you think it's a good idea? And also as well with the Terrapin, I mean, can you see our point of view on it, dealing with the fact that we're not thinking right now. A lot of people aren't thinking about the pipelines and how that comes in, or do you think that it's just a kind of a weak ship all around? Is it just something you liked? Is it something that you actually picked up yourself? So, anyway, guys, so I want to thank you again for listening to this week's BlastCast, and that's really about everything. All right, we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
This week on the BlastCast, we talk about the Gamescom presentation and how this has absolutely changed the perception of what this game is in the minds of many, many people. Today on the BlastCast, let's get to it.